Welcome to Beans and Breakdowns, a podcast dedicated to bridging the gap between specialty coffee and the heavy music community. On this episode, I'm joined by Christian Nowatzki, bassist for the band Left to Suffer. So grab a fresh cup of coffee and wake the fuck up! What's going on, caffeinated crew? On this episode, I'm joined by Christian from Left to Suffer. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on their show today.
It's a pleasure. It's a wonderful Sunday. We're chilling.
We're beautiful day out today where I'm at in Atlanta.
So you are in Atlanta?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I'm like technically in Duluth, which is like 30 minutes outside, but I just tell everybody I'm from Atlanta, so
that's as long as you're from the metro Atlanta area, you know, you can.
Exactly.
I'm very familiar with the area because I'm from Savannah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Where you staying now?
I'm in Montreal.
Montreal? Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was actually listening to so I think it was Dewey from No Cure when you had him.
Yeah. I just missed them. They came through like a week ago on a Monday, and I like kind of forgot, but my band is in the middle of writing as well. So it was like halfway through the writing, I'm like, oh my God, No Cure is tonight.
That happens to me all the time too. It's like I work at a venue where we get a lot of those like packages that comes through. So like thankfully I'm able like to see all like the homies that roll through the masquerade.
Yeah.
But when they're like playing at other venues too, I'm just like always just I like seeing the flyer like day of and I'm like, shit, I'm at work. Like have a good show, guys.
Yeah, so I work for not a venue, but I work for the promoter that books most of the bigger shows that come through. Like they're called Extensive Enterprise.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out Dave. And Zach. Zach runs most of the bigger stuff. Which I'm pretty sure that any show that y'all have played in Montreal, he's been the guy doing the PM stuff. So sometimes usually I'll hit him up and be like, hey, any room for guest list tonight? Let me go to work, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's like I met both of them before. I would say like we played. I'm trying to remember the venues we played. I know we played Club Soda the first time we were there.
Mm-hmm.
It was with Chelsea Grin. We did a co-headliner with Distant at. Oh man, I don't remember. I could probably look at the flyer and see.
Oh, it would have been at Fairmount.
Fairmount, yeah. That sounds about right. And then I think we played in Montreal one more time with Hannibee back in May last year. Also, having trouble remembering what the what venue we were at that time.
Yeah, it's the I see the Chelsea Grin Carnifex tour. Oh yeah, that one is Mtellus. Mtellus is sick.
Show. And then it's like when we were with Hannibee, we played at La Studio TD. That's what the flyer said.
That's where it was?
Yeah, that's where we were.
That venue's kind of weird.
I liked it, but it was a little strange with like the layout where it's like we pulled into like a underground parking garage that was just for us, which I mean that was great for like security purposes, and it was great to just like be able to like walk outside and then like, you know, we got our own space there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like to get the green rooms, you had to have like one person per band would have like a key card or something like that to go up the elevators. So it was like trying to coordinate, like literally just like, I want to go to the green room and grab like a snack or a drink or something like that. It's like, you had to go through like the whole who's got the keys conversation.
I can't remember who runs that venue. It used to be a different owner and stuff, and then it got taken over. But I've had friends that have opened shows there, and they're like, it's a weird place to play just because of the staff. Not to put the staff on blast, but they said it's a bit weirdly run.
Yeah, it was a little bit like it was just for me, my experience there. It was just like the layout was weird, and I don't remember anything weird with regarding like working with the staff there. So that, which is, I would say that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
Also, they're one of the only venues that still does merch cuts.
and really in Montreal,
Yeah, they're like
yeah.
one of two.
I was wishing that like everybody would just get rid of that.
It's so antiquated; it doesn't even make sense anymore.
Yeah, it's like so weird too because I've also picked up on like when I'm on the road that a lot of these venues like the promoters or the I guess whoever's in charge will enforce it, and then like the staff that actually works it half time they really just don't care. They're just like just give us like it's you could like hand over like $30, $40, and then they won't even ask questions.
Right.
But but not everywhere it's like that. Some people like want to see numbers. They do all sorts of like tactics to want to make sure that like they're trying to get an accurate, fair cut, and it's just like I understand you're trying to do your job, but like why?
Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah,
I'm
like,
eating Taco Bell every night. Like,
you really want to do that so that the 204 band that's just like that may have sold like maybe like 20 t-shirts like there's some more than that, but it's just like you know what I mean, it's just like it just ain't right.
Yeah, they even do it to local bands. Like, you should come on.
Oh my god,
come on! You're gonna merch cut a local band that's like getting paid $100 to open the show, and they're playing to like a quarter of the room filled. Like, nobody's there for the opener.
Yeah, it's like they might have like their friends and like the fans that like like have been following them, but it's like that's like their objective is to win new fans, and in an environment where people like generally, unfortunately, when they go to like shows like that, they're like set on seeing like that one or two or whatever bands like they sometimes step themselves out to see.
Yeah,
and it's like local bands just don't generally have like money like that to just like fork over a cut, like.
And then like trying to sell a t-shirt, because a lot of people I see, they'll just push the prices up to like basically to they add the cut into the price, which is fine. Like, I completely understand. But like a local band trying to sell a t-shirt for $40 is insane. Like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, it really isn't gonna work.
But that's enough shit talk about merch cuts. Let's talk about coffee. Do you have some coffee with you?
Yes, I do. I do have a glorious cup of coffee. That my girlfriend just grinded some beans and the delicate Starbucks Cafe Verona beans.
Oh no,
that's yeah. It's a little bit better than I guess like the K cups. Like normally when I wake up, I have like a stash of K cups. So like I'm just tired. Like I ain't gonna try to do all the work to try to make like a good cup of coffee. I just need something just to get in my system.
Right.
So like my go-to with that is like Donut Shop.
It's classic.
Yeah, it's like a good. It's to me, it's like the best of like the economy like level like K cups out there.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't really say like. Of course, it's like I've definitely had better coffee.
The Verona's okay. Like, for me, drinking black Starbucks coffee is difficult. I will admit, this morning I went to go like pick up a guitar across town, and I had a black cold brew from Starbucks, and it's gotten a lot better. I'll admit, I'm not gonna endorse Starbucks by any means, but that was a pretty decent cup of coffee.
Oh, I agree. Like that's like if I want like a cold brew, and like I'm saying this more in like the not really going on my way to like have a coffee to enjoy, but like a coffee where I'm just like, all right, I gotta go do something. Like I need something like to really perk me up, and I'm gonna be active.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, either Starbucks or Dunkin' cold brew is like my go-to. Just black.
The first stop, because when we drive into the States, it's like we can either drive into Burlington, Vermont, or we drive into like this little town in upstate New York called Plattsburgh. And first stop, as soon as we cross the border, it's Dunkin'. Because we
Oh,
don't have,
really?
because we don't have Dunkin' up here. So everybody else in the band is Canadian, and they're like, Dunkin' is so good, it's so sick. I'm like, Dunkin' is extremely mid, but we can go because the cold brew they have nitro cold brew at most of the locations. So I'll hit up a nitro cold brew all day at Dunkin'. That's a good shit.
That is really good shit. It's funny, like you say that about your band coming down from Canada to New York, and how they react to Dunkin' is like kind of how I am with going up into Canada with Tim Hortons.
Tim Hortons, it's better than in the States.
Oh, 100%. We actually just had one open in Atlanta
No way.
last year or so. I personally have not been there, but one of my coworkers has stopped there like numerous times to get just like apple fritters and coffee and like all that stuff, and he's brought me like a couple like coffees into work. And while to me, it was like, I still enjoyed it and it was good. It was just like, it's not the same as getting it on Canadian soil.
It's not the same. Because I've had some Timmys across in like Ohio and stuff. My dad lives in Cleveland, so they've got Tim's up there. But I will tell you, the coffee everywhere is kind of shit. But the donuts at Tim's are like, Krispy Kreme is number one for me, obviously.
Yeah.
From the South, you got to put some respect on it. Number two is Tim Hortons, and it's the sour cream donut. Sour cream donut from Tim Hortons is unbeatable.
You know, actually, I have not tried that one yet.
It's so
Next
good.
tour.
You gotta hit. Even the one in Atlanta might have them, and honestly, it's gonna be fine. I think you should just try. Like the taste of it is so different than any other donut I've had.
Yeah, I gotta try that. Yeah, my cat just joined me up here.
Yeah, I see him.
Say hi, Amber.
Oh, that's a chubby kitty cat.
It's just very, very slinky. The other one, I'm not sure where she's at. She's chunky.
My cat's naked, so he doesn't look chunky, but he's long.
Oh, it's a long kitty.
He's a long cat. Yeah, we call him a long boy. Well, I'm drinking something I picked up recently from I didn't buy it in Vancouver, but there's a shop here that sells it. But it's called Bose, BOWS.
Okay.
I've never seen it or heard of it before, so I'm expressing my ignorance here that this is the first time I've tried it. But it's called Alex Reynoso. It's like from Guatemala.
Okay, Guatemalan beans.
Yeah, it's super fruity though. It's like the notes on it. It says green mango, which is weird because I've never eaten a green mango. Tiramisu and like strawberry. I definitely taste some like strawberry sour taste.
Interesting.
It's good.
Yeah, that sounds really good though.
I made it on an AeroPress because I ran out of filters for my other coffee maker.
Yeah, it's like that's like definitely something I've been wanting to get into more. Is just like experimenting more with like making more coffee from home. Because ultimately it is like, I guess, probably in the long run more affordable to do it anyways, but also just like experiment was just trying like different types of beans from like more like local places that you couldn't really find like on the shelf at like Walmart or Kroger or, you know, I mean, close to here there's like plenty of like small coffee shops that me and my girl have gone to numerous times where it's just like I'll go in, I'll still just get a black cup of coffee. I just want to know what is like in its most like raw form. And there's always a lot of really good stuff around here.
I remember my introduction to like bougie coffee is what I'll call it was Octane, which was from Atlanta, but I was going to school in Birmingham at the time, and they opened like a roaster in Birmingham, and it was fucking amazing. And so every time I'd go to Atlanta to visit my family and stuff, I'd always be like, we got to go to Octane. And they had a drink called an Americola, which was a glass bottle Mexican Coke poured into a glass over ice with 2 shots of espresso on top.
Ooh. I want to try that.
You can make it. It's fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty simple to make, but still, it's like, I've never heard of that before.
It's like the first time I've seen it. I know there's some places like in North Carolina, like in the Carolinas, that my friends will like work at or go to on tour, and they'll do like cheer wine, like a cheer wine sprota is what they'll call it.
Okay.
Um, and then I've seen some other people do like grapefruit soda and espresso, which is really acidic, but I'm sure it's okay if you do the right mixture.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like I feel like if it's made well, that would taste incredible.
Mm-hmm. But
And I love grapefruit too, so it's like that's something I would try.
like squirt soda,
Yeah, I never had. I don't think I've ever had squirt before.
it's good.
It's like one of those things I've seen all the time, and it's just like acknowledging that it exists, but I never really thought like, what is this exactly? Like, is this like a or like Mountain Dew, or is this like another like Sprite, or is this like something completely different?
So is Mountain Dew like? I haven't had Mountain Dew in a long time because in Canada we don't really. I don't. Nobody drinks Mountain Dew. I don't remember the last time I've even seen Mountain Dew besides Baja Blast because you can get Baja Blast in the bottle, but like I can't. Is it a mount? Is it lemon lime? Is it supposed to be lemon lime flavored?
I guess, but I don't get that
I don't either.
taste out of it at all. I did not do a lot when I was younger too, but like it has also for me been so long that I had it that it's like I kind of don't really remember what it tastes like.
I remember in like 2009, 2008, 2009 in high school, whenever like my high school band would hang out, we would just drink the most Code Red
Oh, I love that one.
gamer fuel.
Literal gamer fuel.
And we had the Mountain Dew energy drinks. You remember that shit?
Oh, I remember those. Uh, man, that gave me flashbacks back to like 2010. Me at my friend's house, drinking Code Red Mountain Dews and then playing Halo
All night.
on multiple computers. Yeah.
Man, that'd be crazy. I don't know if I could do that now as a 30-year-old. Like I can't even stay up past like 1 a.m. So man, good
Yeah,
times.
I get that. Oh, good time. I run that back, but yeah, it's like I don't know if I can do like the binging soda of playing Halo for hours like I used to.
I'm gonna get a kidney stone.
Yeah, exactly.
So did you guys grow up in Atlanta?
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Ableton,
Okay.
which is in Cobb, like on the west side of town, over next to Smyrna. And I lived there pretty much until I was like 25. I went to school in Smyrna, high school in Smyrna, and then was in college in Kennesaw for a few years before I started doing music full time.
So my dad used to live in Mapleton. So I'm super,
Really?
yeah. And I think Rev Coffee is out there, right?
Yes, I love that place.
It's sick.
I've been going there since I was like 16.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is. It's always so good. It's like every time I come back, it's always like different, but like it's still like fire.
So were you going to shows when you were like in high school and stuff?
Yeah, I didn't really start actively going to shows. Like I went to like local stuff like when I was like 16, like 2011, I would say. And then once you got like 2012, I started going to like more shows and concerts like that, like a lot more. Pretty much from then on, honestly.
Did you ever get to go to like the Seven venue and stuff in Douglasville?
Yeah, I went to a few shows at the Seven while I was there. That place was so cool.
I
Rest in
love that.
peace, Seven.
I know, man. I saw the like one of the Chariot last shows there.
Oh
Barbecue
man.
Fest.
Funny enough, it's like I didn't get into the Chariot until it was like later in time. I guess it's just more like that style, like metalcore, madcore, whatever. It didn't click to me until like I got older. But then like listening back, I was like, man, this was like a whole like cultural movement, like in the scene in Atlanta, like in a time like when I was like coming up in high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was living in Birmingham in like 2011 to 2013. So we used to drive across to go see shows at like the Seven venue and stuff, like Sleeping Giant and like we would go to like Barbecue Fest. But then in Birmingham, the scene was very different than in Atlanta because I feel like it was still kind of like metalcore heavy, but still had like the chaotic like southern core or like whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
like the Maylene influence. But in Birmingham, it was straight up like Gideon. Like everything sounded like Gideon.
Oh yeah, and I can imagine that. Like, I know, like especially at that time too, and it was like that. That was like the band that was coming out of Alabama.
Mm-hmm. And My
Yeah,
Children, My Bride.
yeah, like those two bands. I remember like even like seeing Gideon back in 2013 at the Seventh Venue, opening for Today,
Oh yeah.
and I never heard of them before, and but like I've seen people talk about them, and I'm like, okay, it's a new band, that's cool. And even back then, they were really good.
Yeah, when they were like a quote unquote hardcore band, which I don't think they were ever like a hardcore, like they were metalcore for sure, like the
Yeah,
whole time. But yeah, I remember they like Dan, who used to play guitar, um, he would book shows in Birmingham because he was pretty much the only one that lived there. Um, and so we would see him all the time, and they were like a local band, which was sick, but they were really big. I mean, they were touring all the time. Um, and it was kind of cool to have that and then go to Atlanta and you would just like run into like Josh at like a Seven Venue show and be like,
yeah,
oh, hey, like you're like one of the most legendary vocalists from Atlanta. That's pretty cool. Like,
yeah, it is so cool. Like even like working on the Masquerade for over like, the last like 3 years, I've seen him like when he's at home, just like occasionally just pop up backstage, and I'm just like, oh yeah, the dude Chariot 68 guy, like
68 guy.
yeah.
Also, Norma Jean.
Yeah, Norma Jean is definitely another heavy hitter from Atlanta.
I feel like he's the reason that they got notable in the beginning is because of him, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But man, what was like one of the crazier shows that you went to early on that draw like kind of drew you in?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a couple. Like I would say like one very memorable show I went to. This was at the Masquerade in Heaven. The headliner was Every Time I Die.
Oh fuck.
Was the direct support was the Acacia Strain. And then I think the other support bands was like Vanna 100th, like back when they were still like a hardcore band. And I think it was like No Bragging Rights.
Oh
And
shit.
that was like one of those shows where it's like at the time I only showed up for Every Time I Die in Acacia Strain, but like I just remember that night I was like, yeah, all these bands are so good. And looking back on that too, I'm just like, that was like a golden bill.
Yeah. That's like
Yeah,
an ultimate 2010s like heavy bill.
Yeah, and yeah, literally. And I just remember like I think I was like 17 or maybe 18 at the time, and I was like skinny. I had no muscle. And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna go hop in that pit and with moshing, and they get wrecked. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have a lot of fun? Yes. And it's like I've seen the Acacia Strain so many times, like over the years, but that was like the most like craziest set I've seen, craziest crowd I've been in for their shows. And I never get Every Time I Die where I was like so stoked to see after like 4 songs. I'm like, I can't. I was like, damn, this is so good. I can't do this anymore.
Did you
It's
leave?
just worn out. Yeah, I actually ended up leaving because I was just like, I was so gassed. Like, and in hindsight, I was just like, damn, I like, I don't think I saw him again after that.
That's
Hindsight,
how
I was like, should have got Red Bull and just stuck it through.
power through.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been when Acacia Strain was still doing like very hardcore influence. Like The Hills Have Eyes, I remember that song being like huge when they were earlier on. And
Oh yeah,
Skynet.
Skynet. Yeah, those were the first 2 songs that I found by them. And I was just like, that was like the 2 songs I feel like that like transformed like my music taste and what I wanted to do like with music at the time too. Where it's like before then I was like more into like I was into more like metal and metalcore and deathcore and stuff like that too. And I found them. I was just like, oh, we get really aggressive, tuned very low. I thought it was like the coolest thing, and that's where like my love for deathcore like really took off. It's like, or like I guess like that style of like heavy music where it's like you got like it's in that space between like hardcore, deathcore, and
Mhm. That's like
yeah,
yeah.
that show was
Sorry.
life changing. Very good.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I like that direction of, because my introduction to deathcore was like Unanswered by Suicide Silence when I was
Yeah, that
like
was
15. Like, was that like you had to start at Acacia Strain and go back, or was that something that was on your radar as well?
I think looking back to like my timeline of like how I got into that subgenre of music. I think it was All Saw Perish was like the first band.
Okay.
Great band. And then it was like the most popular guys at the time, like Suicide Silence, Whitechapel,
Mm-hmm.
and to an extent, Bring Me the Horizon, because they were still like a very heavy band at the time.
Put some respect on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That first LP is 100% like golden deathcore.
Oh yeah, exactly. Blessings, spectacular. Suicide Season's still my favorite record they put out.
Good album.
Such a great album. Going into, so I discovered Acacia Strain, and that's where it was like I started deep diving more into like all the bands that were like, I guess like coming up, were not as like well known yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I almost went to a show where it was pretty stacked lineup too. It's like I've been seeing people share this flyer on my Facebook recently. It was like Whitechapel, Acacia Strain, Veil Maya, Chelsea Grin, and I think I Declare War.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
I Declare War is, I feel like I don't hear that name enough.
They are so good. We were very fortunate too. We got to play like 3 shows with them back in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were doing like time we went out to California to record 3 songs with Howard Benson, and then we went up to Sacramento to record our full length Feral. And our manager at the time wanted us to do like a CD release show for like another EP we did,
mm-hmm.
which ended up doing like 3 shows, like all in the Southwest, like Anaheim, Vegas, Fresno, or something like that. And we're trying to think of like, you know, like us headlining and figure out like a direct support band. And I don't remember who came up with the idea for I Declare War. We're just like, yeah, we'll just shoot them an offer to see if they'll say yes. Like, and then they're like, yeah, we'll do it. Like, no way.
It's like you never know what they're gonna say, right? It could be no, it could be yes.
Yeah, exactly. It was like one of those times where it's just like we didn't know them personally, so, and it's like just coming from like an older generation, and like we didn't really know what to expect. Like, and like at the time too, it's like I don't think they were like doing like a lot of like touring. Like they're still, I still see them like doing like regional stuff, and
mm-hmm.
so we didn't know like if what they would say, and then like they were like super down with it from the jump, and I had a great time jam with those dudes for like those 3 days we were on the road with them.
Man, that's like a bucket list, just to say that you like did a run with I Declare War, even if it's in the 2020s. Like, it's still cool.
Yeah, it is still so cool.
Well, how would you say that you got into like heavier music?
How did I got into heavier music? Honestly, it started with like at the very beginning. It was like playing Guitar Hero. Like Guitar Hero 2 and 3 was like popping at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, like and those games did put on like some really good like heavy bands, like metalcore bands at the time too. Like that's how I discovered like bands like Shadow's Fall, Killswitch Engage, All That Remains, like all that,
mm-hmm.
like the prominent metalcore bands back in like the mid 2000s. And it was pretty much like, you know, then it's like I really love these bands. Like, and I just started like diving further in. Like, just had like so much time at home, just like with, and had YouTube at my disposal. Back in the time, that's when like Pandora was like the main like list. Like, if you wanted to discover new music, was like a way of finding new things. And it just like my music palette just started growing from there. And then of course like in high school too, then it's like I found other people and friends at my school and like in my community that also like shared similar music tastes. So then like you know, like everybody started exchanging like what we all like musically, and then started going to shows more. Like, it especially helped like once I had a car and could drive to shows. And yeah, it was like all started like in my youth.
Your parents would let you drive downtown as a teenager?
First, no. When I was like, I'm pretty sure like when it was like the first show I went to, when I was like almost 17, it was like All Shall Perish at the Masquerade. And I'm pretty sure I told him like, yeah, our friend's dad is going to give us a ride down there and he's going to pick us up and bring us back home. No, I took my car.
And that was at the Masquerade, like in Fourth Ward.
No. Yeah, 695. Yep. And it was like, I've never been down there before. That was like my first ever Masquerade show. I had no idea what like that area was like. It took me time to learn like the whole lore of like Murder Kroger.
Yeah.
And after like, I ended up graduating high school early, like halfway through my senior year. I didn't have enough like credits to where it's just like I pretty much like took off the entire spring semester, and I worked at McDonald's at the time. And by that point, they're just kind of like, you can go do whatever you want to, just like let us know what you're doing. I'm like, okay, easy.
Yeah. I feel like once you get the job, then it's like, all right, you're an adult.
It's like I'm making money. Like that fall is like I literally all I did was just like went to school, tried to work, go home, do like cram as much homework in as possible in like an hour, and then just go to sleep, and then rinse and repeat every day. And then of course like the weekends when there was like a show going on, I would still go or did like normal like 17-year-old shit. But
did you start out as a bassist?
No, actually I'm a guitarist.
Okay.
And band that I was like doing back when I was like 13 or 14, I played guitar in every band that I was involved in up until Suffer was different alias. That's a local band back in like 2018. I got hired in to be as the third guitarist alongside Peter and Jacob.
Okay.
So for a minute, there was like a solid like couple of months where we played shows where it was like me, Peter, and Jacob played guitars, and we had another bass player at the time. And the bass player ended up leaving and went on to go do his own thing. And it was at the time, it was just like trying to look for another bassist local to Atlanta. With, you know, of course, just being like a local band, it's like we just want to look for somebody local, of course. Not really having luck with that. And then I don't know what sparked me one day where I was just like, you know what? I'm saving up a lot of money right now at my job. I just went and just like bought a new bass from Sam Ash and a dark glass pedal. I'm like, hey guys, we can do this. I'll play bass. It was just basically over the next month, just like borrowing heads and cabs from other people, and that's where it started.
R.I.P. Sam Ash.
Yeah, rest in peace, Sam Ash.
Fuck Guitar Center, but it's pretty much the only place you can buy gear.
Yeah, it's like literally like Guitar Center. I like Guitar Center for the sole purpose of like on tour when it's like you have to get like those little things that are really important that it's like you can't really do Sweetwater because like you didn't write like now.
Yeah.
I'm glad the Guitar Center exists for that reason. But I would go up there, get what I need to. And I got a couple of friends that are up there too that I'll chat with, like if they're there. But outside of that, it's like I'm in, get my things, leave.
I remember my brother worked at the one. What's that really busy one on in Cobb County?
Oh yeah, Terrell Mill, I think.
Yeah,
or Cobb Parkway.
He I think it's Cobb Parkway because he said that like one time, like Ludacris called. I don't know. It was a lot of like crazy people would go shop at that one.
Oh, I believe it.
But that's like an older one, so I don't really that one gets grandfathered in. It's been there for a long time.
Yeah, certainly. That was really cool though. Like I think like if you were working at a Guitar Center, that would probably be like the coolest part of the job is just like the random people that like will stop through.
Yeah.
Especially the people like that, like notoriety.
I'll say the used section at a lot of the Guitar Centers are good.
Oh, I believe it. Like, I'm not saying like I have been there and have been like scout out gear relatively recently, but like I do remember like when I was like younger and I was looking for like new guitars to buy and stuff like that, I would always see some good gems like on the wall in like the used section.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you find like a great deal, but there's actually, if you like for used gear, there's a spot in Ohio, like in the center of Ohio, called Music Go Round.
Okay, yeah, I definitely heard of that place, and I'm pretty sure guys have like ordered stuff on that.
It's crazy. Like everything's used because it's kind of like they have either consignment or they bought it and they're reselling. But I don't think they sell any new gear, but you can find some like pretty crazy shit. Like old shit.
Really?
Yeah. Not to say that it's going to be like ideal for what y'all are playing, but like for like an indie rock project or something. If anybody is listening and you want an old guitar, go to Music Go Round, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm like starting. There's definitely like got to be some like, even if it's like stuff I wouldn't play, just like stuff that's like, oh, this is really cool that like they have it.
Mm-hmm. What are you playing on?
So I got my Dingwall IG3. That's what I use to pretty much play every LTS show, and that's what I primarily use for like recording.
Mm-hmm.
I have a backup too. It's like an LTD. I barely use it, so I can't remember what the type of band was, but yeah, it's like I have that as like another bass. I have just have something else in an alternate tuning.
Mm-hmm.
On guitars, my main guy is this. I actually have it right here with my Ibanez RG 127.
Oh,
yeah, it's been a very solid guitar. I got this from Cat Match for like $600, like back in like 2015.
It's a 7?
Yeah, it's a 7.
I'm selling an Ibanez right now, but it's the RGD 320.
Okay,
but it's a 6-string.
No, I love playing on 6 strings too. Is that instead of like a 30-inch scale or?
No, it's a 26.5.
Oh, okay.
Which it's extended. Like normally it would be like a 25 inch, but this one comes from the factory in D standard.
Okay.
But I put it in like drop B.
Okay, to the low.
Well, because it's for death metal. But yeah, I like that one. It's got a Floyd on it. I just got it because it has a Floyd, and I wanted to do dive bombs.
Oh yeah, I was like, that's like my main motivation. Like, if I was ever gonna Floyd Rose again, I want to do dive bombs,
like dime style dive bombs.
Exactly.
I remember Ola England put out a video like, fuck, it wasn't too long ago, but he was teaching you how to do the dime style dives.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that video.
Where just like, you just find a fret you like and you strum it and then you dump it and then you like pinch or you flick and I don't know. It was a fucking, I can't describe it with words. But yeah, if you listen to Pantera, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about too. And I just love too that like dive bombs, I feel like in music have just been so in. Like last like 5 to like 7 years again.
Yeah.
So I always like when I was growing up listening to music and like it's like back in the day when I was listening to more like bands like Pantera were like considered like super heavy to me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's like I hear like all these old like hardcore bands, like metalcore bands, like using like dive bombs in their music, and it's like this is so cool.
Yeah. Even Dying Wish. Dying Wish is using dive bombs.
Yeah, no, it's like they're doing that too. Like I think one of my favorites, I can't remember what the song title was, but Bama Kara, it's like
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah, where they have that one crazy dive bomb before like the mosh part, like
Shout out Valmakara. That's a good ass band.
they are.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, even in bands that are not like thrash or even crossover, but like New York style hardcore bands that are throwing dive bombs. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, I agree. I'm so with that.
It's so like Biohazard. Uh, did Left to Suffer start in COVID?
Let to Suffer was we in 2019, so it was like before COVID.
Okay.
In the pre-COVID time, we were at the time really more or less like a local / regional band. Like we just started like doing runs to like Florida, to like the Carolinas, and to Texas. And we did like one like half like 2 week run with a Bro Job early 2020 before like the world shut down.
Yeah.
And but you know at the time it was like probably just like starting to pop up on people's radars, but like we weren't really like full blown like national touring band yet. Well, it had like 6-7 songs out at the time.
Because the LP dropped in 20, that first like kind of LP EP, the longer one. Was it called
A Year of Suffering?
Yeah, A Year of Suffering.
Yeah,
was in 2020.
It really was just more or less like a compilation of like all the singles we've been dropping over the years, and then threw in a couple extra songs. Wrapped it up as like our first like full length,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really cool idea.
It sounds really, really good. Like I know a lot of bands popped up during COVID because everybody was fucking bored.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and it was just like during that time, it was just like because everybody's like so tuned in on social media, it was just like easy.
Yeah.
If you knew how to work social media, it's like it was easy to get like leverage on that momentum to start growing.
I feel like y'all did a really good job at that. Like as soon as the first release came out, I think like Nick, Hardcore Keem, you know, like all the guys like really started pushing it and reacting and stuff. And of course that gets like clips on Instagram. And so y'all just started hitting like the meme circuit.
Exactly. It's like that's what happened too. It was like there's been a couple of instances where on TikTok, somebody who had a decent following would do like I guess like some sort of like dance clip or whatever. And I think it was like this in our song Low, there was this one part where it's like had like 4 like pig scrapes in a row. And which I think that was like at the time like the most reactive part you could have in our song. And it's just like one person does a video, then it turns into 10, and then it turns into 100. And then you got people like Franz from Attila did one, and like other people that like have like pretty solid followings. And then it's like then you go over to like you know like the streaming data, and then you see like, oh, okay, this actually sort of have like a upward trajectory out of nowhere. And it's like just crazy to see the power of the internet and like social media just once a little trend can really help a lot.
The algorithm is like the king. Like if you can catch the algorithm, then you're on.
Exactly.
Which is a great benefit, but also trying to figure out how you get picked up by the algorithm is so difficult.
Yeah, it really is. And it's like years like we've had like other opportunities too where like so like then would catch onto the algorithm well. And like you know like Taylor, he's just been killing it with everything he's been doing, so like he's been able to like kind of be like his own character on social media that has really helped build a following. me personally, I just never have been like much of like a social media guy. Like I use it, but I'm not like really trying to like or anything like that. It's just
Right.
like kind of treat it more also like, all right, I'm gonna post things that I like and get everybody kind of vibe, you know.
Yeah, like personal stuff on social media, I don't put a lot at all. Like
Yeah, me either.
I'll do a photo dump like maybe twice a year, maybe. But then on the podcast, obviously, like it's a different thing. Like you got to kind of keep up with it. And
Yeah,
then
exactly.
with bands, like I don't even run the bands that I'm in. I don't run any of the social media just because I'm so bad at it, and everybody else in the band is a lot better at it. So yeah, I feel you. I don't feel like I have enough mental availability to try to keep up with social media stuff.
Yeah, that's like where I'm at too, where it's like occasionally I'll have like those like days and like the free time where I'm like, okay, I could probably like just like throw something into the pond and see how it does. But it's like for me, like especially nowadays, it's more or less like I'm just like working all the time and then trying to spend time with my girlfriend and family and like friends
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that too. So it's like then when it comes, so then it's like as they see like social media and I see like other people like that, like you know, like have they're putting in the work and like you know been putting out like content that I see that people are like loving too. I'm just like I want to start doing that again, and then do a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's just more or less like I guess it's more like a time management thing on that, but
Yeah, it's a hustle.
it is a hustle,
Leap of Death.
leap of death.
It's been out for 7 months, 8 months, 8 months.
Yeah, I'd say it's August and now it's March, so
Going
like
March.
getting close to like 7 months of
Yeah,
it being out.
it's it has a very iconic breakdown.
Oh yeah,
The ad lib
mind.
bleh part.
Oh yeah, there's yeah, I was like thinking Lost in the Dark, I think.
Yeah,
Or
with Paleface.
yeah,
Yeah.
that I knew people were gonna love that song. I feel like with having Zelly on the song too, it's like Elvis is another band in like the heavy music sphere that's just like killing.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely seem like they had a lot of success with their most recent record too, and even yeah, just like of all the features, like we've gotten back, but that was like one when the first time I heard it, I was just like laughing hysterically after listening to it. I'm like, no way, he just put that on our song.
What's like there because I started listening to them when they started releasing singles, and like it was during COVID as well. I think they were another band that really started pushing like social media stuff during COVID. And I remember seeing it being like, is this a joke? Like this is so heavy unnecessarily that it's
Yeah,
stupid, but it was good.
yeah, it was like really good. Like I have the same thoughts too, where it was just more or less like it was just like very dumb heavy type of stuff, and I feel like it was like digestible too for people that weren't familiar with like that like subgenre of
Mm-hmm.
heavy music.
Yeah, I remember showing it to my brother. I think it was Cursed. They had a song called Cursed, and I showed it to my
Yes.
brother, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?" And I was like, "Dude, this is crazy."
Yeah, or they just keep like slowing it down. Another
Literally,
mosh call.
the riff but slower. It's a formula that works, stands the test of time.
It's everybody's been loving that like years.
Also the collabs with Alejandro, man. I was
Yeah.
a big fan of him like before the whole American Idol thing when he was Scary Pool Party. And to see him branching into like the heavier music space, doing a lot of like work with like Silent Planet and then you guys obviously. He's got like 2 tracks on the record.
Yeah, he does. And he is just one of the most talented musicians that I've ever met and have been around. It's the coolest dude too, because it's like he's definitely like one of those people that he's always has had a love for like heavy music,
Mhm.
and he's like so versed into like his can't really describe like the music of like was it's sort of like it's definitely more of like a pop style music, but it's
It's kind of like singer songwriter.
yeah, it's like more like that. Yeah, it's just like he's just like so like well versed in like both those worlds too, and how we got him on these tracks too, it was just funny. It was just like Taylor just kind of just shot his shot in his DMs, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'll roll out." And then we just hung out and like we just like really vibed, and we got him on the song. Originally, it was "The Medicine."
Mhm.
On the same day too, the Little Lotus was over at we're tracking at Morgoth Beats' house, and yeah, it's just like got both of them on that song, and then the last day we're in the studio was the day we wrote Forever. Completely, it was like it was kind of based off a demo that we brought in, but like we didn't use, I don't think, anything out of it. It was just sort of like a structural idea.
Mhm.
And yeah, I started, Alejandro helped like write a little bit of the song too, and then I sang his parts.
So that was like in the studio, like on the day.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's sick. That's cool to know that he helped like write parts of it too.
Yeah, it's like even from my memory too, it's like I'm pretty sure like like if you listen to The Medicine before like the breakdown in the middle, there's like that synth part.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure he just tried that on the keyboard like last minute, and it was just like that's cool. That's so cool. And yeah, it's like I know he did some more of that type of stuff too with Forever when we did that song with him. Maybe it's something else I might be forgetting, but yeah,
I mean, the
just the
record's
best. Like
sorry.
funny too because it's like I know we're gonna do like another feature with him like at some point.
It's gotta
Like why
happen.
not?
It's gotta
Yeah,
do like a full record where it's like you guys write the music and then he tracks the vocals.
yeah. I was like that'd be a fun experiment to do too. Like we could do add like Taylor and Alejandro could go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like Alejandro is just a beast of a singer.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like what he does further, but like even to see like because you guys on tour or something, if he comes out for some dates and sings the tracks like live,
Oh yeah, like
that's wild.
I'm pretty sure we'll be doing that like in Los Angeles, like when we're there on the Applied Berry Body Tour coming up next month.
Mm-hmm.
And we already did that too with when we performed at with Sullivan King. We we debuted playing Forever live for the first time, and we flew Alejandro out for that too because it's like we knew that was such a special occasion that it's just like all right, we gotta like make the most out of this.
Yeah, that's sick. I really like the contrast. Like it's just cool. So hopefully it gets to happen more.
Yeah, I would love that.
More melodic stuff and deathcore, you know. It's just
Exactly.
well, I know you just dropped the tour. What do y'all have coming up for 2025?
Okay, yeah. So we are currently in the process of getting the next record mixed and mastered right now.
My God.
Yeah, I know. And I'm really stoked about this record too because this is like a return to the roots type record, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Like we literally like me and Peter went to our friend Aaron Pace, who also produced that first record, Year Suffering. Went back to him for like writing and tracking. And he's been also, even though like we have Matt Thomas who did Feral for us to do like the engineering part, like Aaron's like involved with like helping like with the input and stuff like that too. So, and like the songs are very reminiscent of like old Let the Suffer, but like I guess it's like more refined. Like there's definitely like we still have like some melodic songs on there too, like reminiscent of like it doesn't really sound more like Leave of Death, but it definitely sounds like more like taps into like more like melodic hardcore kind of feeling.
Ooh,
More more metalcore, like I think more like counterparts, like kind of like
okay.
feeling when like with these more melodic songs, but then the heavy stuff too is like very we just honed in on like I guess like more deathcore influences, but like arranging bands like writing riffs that sound more on par with like some deathcore bands like Die Artist Murder and Whitechapel, but like even more like the more breakdowns of like the KSDO Strain, and then like even like some parts where it's just like I have the guitar help write part. I'm like, where's the bands that are killing it right now in like all the heavy music spheres? And I'm like, Killing Flesh is one.
Yeah,
They're writing some like slam riffs. Yeah,
love Peeling Flesh.
yeah, and then it's like even like hardcore like in the last like few years it's just like skyrocketed too. It's like bands like Drain, Ended, like of course like Terror, like bands like that where it's like I've been listening to them too. I'm like, okay, like we're not obviously not a hardcore band, but like they're doing some really cool shit. Like let's like throw in like those like side to side like parts.
Like the tom side to side.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's cool. I'd love to see like a Left to Suffer tour with like a hardcore band opening. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's like we'll definitely like if we were gonna do next headliner we do. I'm not sure when that would be, but it's like we want to take like a package with like good variety on it. Like, like we've taken out like bands that like are definitely like, you know, in the hardcore scene, like Chamber and like Justice for the Damned, like those bands.
Yeah.
But even we've got like more of like, definitely want to take like more like hardcore band down, just bringing moshers out from these shows.
You got to have the moshers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Christian, I really appreciate you hanging out today, taking some time on a Sunday.
Man, thank you, Grayson. I definitely appreciate you hitting me up, and I'm glad that we were able to make this episode happen today.
It's nice to talk to another Georgia boy every now and then. You know, I don't have a lot of Georgia friends up here, coincidentally.
Now you got another Georgia friend.
There you go. I just got one last question for you before we go. What's your favorite city for beans and breakdowns?
Favorite city for beans and breakdowns? That's a good question. I have a couple that come to mind. First one that popped in my mind was Sacramento, California. Because that city, like every time I've gone there, went to a coffee shop, it's always been fire, and then like the shows have always just popped off.
Violent scene.
Very violent scene.
That's cool. I have some friends from Sacramento. Actually, I have a friend named Grayson that played in a Tooth and Nail metalcore band from Sacramento.
Really?
Yeah, you remember you know Tooth and Nail, obviously.
Tooth and Nail. Yeah. I remember that name.
Yeah, they used to play with like they toured with Emery at one point, and like you know they did the whole thing. They were like a scene core, like little metalcore band on Tooth and Nail. So shout out Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Shout out to Sac.
Sacktown. That's what I've never heard that place being called before by a few people. Oh, I think it's funny.
Imagine living in a place called Sacktown.
Yeah, right.
I'm ready to hit the sack. Well, again, Christian, thanks so much. Hopefully get to catch you next time you're in Montreal. We can get some coffee. It doesn't have to be Starbucks.
Yeah, let's go get some like real good local coffee.
Yeah, I'll take you to some spots. Luckily, every venue has at least one good coffee shop near it in Montreal, so we'll be set.
Perfect. Yeah. Next time we're back in Montreal, let's do it.
Are y'all coming on that tour?
No, actually, we're not doing Montreal that one. I think we're kind of like starting to begin to figure out like fall plans and stuff like that too. So hopefully we'll come and hit like that part of Canada again. So,
well, hopefully this year. If not, I'll see you soon.
All right, awesome, man. You take it easy.
Cheers. Thanks for listening to this episode of Beans and Breakdowns. I want to say a huge thanks to Christian for hanging out on the podcast. Be sure to listen to Leap of Death, available on all streaming platforms, and look out for any tour dates they may have near you. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. You can find out more information about the podcast by following us on Instagram at Beans and Breakdowns or on the web at beansandbreakdowns.com. Until next week, be sure to stay caffeinated and wake the fuck up.